Madam Minister opened an invitation to a number of people, all those who knew of events that occurred during the Champions League match this weekend. So we met with Madam Minister, the Prefect of Seine-Saint-Denis, heads of police, the Mayor of Seine-Saint-Denis. We also met with representatives from UEFA, the French Federation of Football, representatives from the Stade de France Stadium, and the Prefect who is in charge of organizing major sporting events. We spoke at great length this morning, and we all see eye to eye on the facts of what took place. First and foremost, along with the Minister here, we would like to share our great grievances as to what happened this weekend, because a number of people were not able to actually go and witness and watch the entirety of the football match, which was a great shame that they were not able to attend the match. The match was organized at the Stade de France, and 3 months ago, in the lead-up to the holding of this match, we obviously made this decision in light of what was happening in Moscow. Now, usually, these sorts of games require some 16 to 18 months of organization. We only had 3 months to get everything organized. So there were 4 main items that came through our conversations this morning. First, we see that, much to our dismay, that there was little done to account for the British and Spanish supporters who came to attendance. We are waiting for final figures on the number of British supporters who came to the event, but a large number of them turned up to the stadium either without a ticket or with fake tickets. When looking at the public transport figures, some 40% more people took transport to the stadium compared to usual levels. A large number of them took, or nearly all, took public transport. 16,000 additional people arrived by coach, and the rest arrived by other means. So of the 30 to 40,000 British fans, we were already in attendance in previous matches, and when looking at what happened in Madrid in 2019, we see that similar challenges were faced then. A large number of Spanish and British supporters took the RERD out to the station, and therefore that resulted in the fact that there was a bottleneck at one of the narrow exit tunnels from the station. At 9 p.m., when the game started, or the game was meant to start, a large number of Spanish supporters were already in the stadium, and there were roughly 20,000 of them. At 9 p.m., only 50% of British fans were already in the stadium. What that shows that there was an issue that had to be dealt with, and that issue was that at the entry tunnel for the British supporters. However, all of the other entry gateways to the stadium were operating normally. What we noticed was that there was large-scale fraudulent activity in producing fake tickets, because the pre-filtering systems that were put in place and that were implemented by the French Federation and the Stade de France expect to encounter a certain percentage of fake tickets, and they saw that 15% of all tickets were presented were in fact fake. So that's 2,600 fake tickets. And these are figures that we have from UEFA. In light of the large-scale use of fake tickets and the processing that entailed, is one of the main reasons as why the beginning of the match was delayed. What we would like to say is we would like to share our great thanks for all of the security forces, the security staff, and the ticketing agents who were on site. Because of their calm and collected nature, they were able to avoid the situation from rearing out of control. So despite what we have seen on social media, there were a number of arrests that were made. Of the 29, 30 arrests that were made, more than half of them were British nationals who were arrested at the gates to the Stade de France. Minister, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the rather intense briefing session that we have just had this morning. And I would like to thank all the stakeholders for being so open and frank in this morning's discussions. Because obviously we need to learn from what has happened to ensure that this will never repeat itself. And yet at the same time, we have mixed feelings because the match was still able to go ahead, and this match went ahead without any victims, without any people being seriously wounded or injured, and there was no violence between fans. So in addition to what Minister Darmanin has just shared with you, I would like to touch on one or two items. The UEFA observed 2,700 non-valid tickets. That means that there were 2,700 people who bought a ticket, but they were not allowed to attend because they were actually sold fake tickets. And unfortunately, that has cast a shade over the entire event. So these 2,700 people reached out to the UEFA, and the UEFA is working tirelessly to identify those people who were sold fake tickets, so they will be compensated accordingly. What I would like to now add is, what are we going to do next? The next steps that we are going to take and have been decided upon between our ministries touch on a number of points. The main pivotal point is to understand exactly what happened. How did this fraud take place? How were these tickets made? So we're going to look through all of what happened, and we see that there were some 30 to 40,000 people who tried to attend either without ticket or with fake tickets. We already know some initial figures from UEFA, so we can see that there is quite a large-scale ticket fraud system in place, and yet there were so many other people who still were able to attend the match with legitimate tickets. So therefore, in addition to the work that will be carried out by the prosecutor's office in Bobigny and the police forces, there will be in-depth investigations carried out by UEFA. They will look into what happened, how it was able to happen, and how it was able to be such a large-scale situation. So this investigation will start in the very near future. The second item, I called on my own services and the prefect, who is in charge of the DGES, who is in charge of major sporting events, to work with all those people who were part of our meeting this morning, and to look at all of the in-depth analysis so that in 10 days' time we will be able to draft a report outlining everything that happened to our knowledge. As I said earlier, there are still a few grey areas where we have no information, and we'll have to reach out to the respective parties to get that information, but we will utilize all the information that we have at our disposal to try and publish that report in the very near future, so that we can understand exactly what happened on this tragic weekend. We'll also work with the Interior Ministry in a cross-cutting, very transparent approach by working with all parties to ramp up monitoring systems and operations for such events. Because these risks are deemed to be high-risk events, especially when it comes to crowd management, transport management, when it comes to pre-filtering, second filtering. We are also going to work on a system to ensure that e-ticketing will be systematic, so that we can properly tackle ticket fraud. In addition to this, we will increase law enforcement services who will be on site to monitor what is happening at such events. So in light of what happened on Saturday, but also last night, and again for the events of last night, it is with great dismay that we see what fans are doing. And therefore we will work with Éric Dupond-Moretti and Gérald Darmanin to work together between sport, justice and interior ministries to further tackle hooliganism within football, and we will show a steady hand, but also seek to open up channels of dialogue and communication by working with the National Agency Against Hooliganism, and also with all of the fan-based organizations to reopen these channels of dialogue, which were already open in the past but have came to close, so that football, a sport that we love so much, that is loved by so many, does not give way into such forms of hooliganism. Thank you very much.